Yo, what up, guys? It's your boy here, Yuya giving you another Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 episode review for you guys. This episode is going to be a little mixed-matched, I suppose. I may forget certain little things in the episode because there was a lot of dialogue in this episode, a lot of different things in this episode, so I hope you guys understand if I forget a couple of things, and you guys could just say in the comment section below what I forgot. So let's begin the episode off. It leaves off where Jack came through to come help out Yuya and the others. Jack Atlas pretty much described that the reason why he came to the fusion dimension was because the top and the commons are taking care of the city or whatever, and the three little kids that Crow takes care of, they pretty much said that, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of the city, but Crow and the Lancers, they need your help to fight off against Academia, and will you go? And Jack pretty much agrees and says, alright, you know what, I'll go help them. Clearly they care a lot about Crow, and they care about him no matter where he goes, so he's gonna go over there for the sake of the little kids. It wasn't explained specifically how he was able to get to the synchro dimension, because they said that the kids, they said that Crow had already left. So how did Jack travel through dimensions? They didn't explain that. They didn't explain how that happened. Maybe they'll explain it a little later, but I felt like they could just explain it right there real quick. Like maybe Kabareiji gave them the technology to travel through dimensions. Something. Give us something to work with. But they didn't explain any of it, so that was a little weird. But either way, he's here and he's ready to duel, and he says that kind of like it's an honor to duel, you know, with Yuya, and that what happened to Crow, and then Saotari shows Crow's card, implying that he got carded or whatever. Jack Atlas got really pissed. He looked at the Battle Beast like, oh, how dare you do this to Crow? I'm gonna crush you and this and that. And the Admiral, sorry, not the Admiral, the instructor, he pretty much, you know, he's like, oh, you sure do seem to have a lot of self-confidence to be shouting out all this whatever stuff that you're talking about. And he pretty much, the instructor is like commanding the Battle Beast to, you know, just like, I guess, hold nothing back. He's kind of just building him up, saying, oh, this is like our strongest student, our strongest duelist in general. And then Sawatari says that, oh, well, you have your strongest duelist in Academia, which is the Battle Beast, but we have the strongest duelist from the Synchro Dimension, which is Jack Atlas. And Yuya on top of that, because Yuya did defeat Jack. So now we got Jack, the former champion, versus Yuya, the current champion, working together with each other and whatnot. So yeah, so there's no way that they're going to be able to win, which obviously agreeable, makes perfect sense. Jack Atlas, as usual, summons his Red Resignate. He actually sets a card face down first, which is, I'm like, what? Everybody was kind of thrown off by that, because you usually don't start by setting a card and then doing your move. That's kind of odd, but it all makes sense afterwards. So he synchro summons, he goes for, you know, his Red Dragon Archfiend Scarlight. He activates Scarlight's effect to try and pop the Gladiator Beast monster. Battle Beast protects his fusion monster from being destroyed with this trap card, and Jack pretty much says, nope, I'm not going to let that happen. He activates the card that he just set, which was a trap card, a counter trap card. So it's a counter trap card that says that while you control a red monster on the field, you can activate this card the turn it was set, and basically you can negate the activation of a spell or trap card. So that's pretty much what he does to negate that trap card that he's using to protect himself. And then the instructor gets pissed off. He's like, oh, you planned this all along, and like it was such a dirty trick. And then obviously, since his field was pretty much destroyed, not his whole field, but since the Battle Beast field was partially destroyed, his monster was off the field. Technically speaking, Scarlight still can't attack directly to win the duel, but the Red Warg's effect, Red Wolf's effect, is that when it's used to summon a red monster that turn, when it's special summon that way, like the synchro monster that you use can't attack that turn. So that's pretty much what happens. So Jack says, oh, looks like you've been saved from death this turn. And then the Battle Beast, he was really nervous throughout the entire time because he thought he was going to get annihilated right there, and he normally would have, but he wasn't. And then he kind of like smiled because he wasn't going to be able to attack, so he smiled. And then the instructor got really pissed off. He's like, oh, why are you smiling? You are like the strongest duelist we have. How dare you? Kind of like, he was really aggressive. He was just saying like, oh, how can you be happy at the fact that you survived an extra turn or something. Like, he was just like, what he was saying was like really kind of aggressive and unnecessary. So he jumps up from where he was, jumps down to the field, and he actually is like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna assist you now to teach you a lesson or whatever. And he basically puts on his duel disc, and he starts to duel. So now he's joining the duel too. I didn't expect it. That threw me way off guard. I did not expect him to come down and start dueling. I didn't even know if he was ever gonna duel, but he just came down out of anger. He's like, oh, I'm gonna assist you in this duel and show you whatever. He was just super aggressive and pissed off. It was kind of funny, but it becomes Sanders' next turn, and Sander pretty much, he fusion summons right away. Fusion summons Test Tiger and Test Ape, which are not even Gladiator Beast monsters, and he activates Test Fusion to fuse them. And that card basically says you could summon pretty much any fusion monster from your extra deck, because it ignores the summoning conditions. So you could fuse like Elemental Hero Avian and Burstinatrix and come out with a Gladiator Beast fusion monster. So it kind of makes it so like you don't have to use the actual materials. You could use any two materials and fusion summon any fusion monster in a way. That's kind of a really broke fusion card right there, because it just ignores any summoning conditions. So he summons this new Gladiator Beast fusion monster, Gladiator Beast something editor. I forgot what his name was, but it was this editor guy. And its effect, it has a really powerful effect to summon a fusion monster from either player's extra deck, straight from the extra deck onto the field. So the fusion monster has this whip, so it takes the whip and smacks it towards the Battle Beast's extra deck and summons one of his Gladiator Beasts from his extra deck onto his field. And so that's pretty powerful that you're able to just take an opponent's fusion monster and just summon it in will. So like it's like commanding the beast on what to do. So there's a lot of symbolism in this episode with that fusion monster and the Battle Beast and stuff like that. How the instructor's commanding the Battle Beast. The Battle Beast is this savage wild animal in a sense, and his Gladiator Beast monsters are also savage. So this editor guy is the one that tames them. Sanders pretty much tames the Battle Beast, so there's a lot of symbolism with that. So that gets played into it much later. And then he tries to destroy Red Dragon Archfiend. Obviously, Jack is going to defend his Red Dragon Archfiend, and he protects it from being destroyed by card effects. So that didn't go through. And then pretty much Sanders was saying something interesting about Akabaleo, and how he was specifically told by Akabaleo to annihilate the Lancers, especially Yuya, but don't kill Akaba Reiji. So that's interesting that he doesn't want his son Reiji to be eliminated, but he does want the Lancers, but specifically Yuya. So he was actually mentioned by name by the professor, saying that you have to eliminate Sakaki Yuya. So that was very interesting. And basically Yuya is kind of like starts thinking about this really hard, and he starts kind of getting, I wouldn't say depressed, but kind of like really worried, like what's he talking about? Why was I specifically mentioned by name to be eliminated? And then, you know, he was thinking about how everything's happened, how there are four of me's from different dimensions with the same face, and how it just seems like we've all been destined to kind of run into each other. Then how Yuto got combined with Yuya in his heart and whatnot. So they basically say, oh, could it be possible that Akabaleo knows something about us? Could he know why we are the way we are, why there's four of us, and why is it that Yuto was able to combine with Yuya's spirit and all this stuff, and the stuff with Yuri and everything? So they're pretty much contemplating, thinking like, hey, what could be going on here, and does he know something? So they want to know what Akabaleo might know. So that's kind of where it's leading to. So now we know that Yuya has another reason to go see Akabaleo, because now he wants these answers. He needs to know these answers. And Sanders, after that, he says, alright, fine, since I can't destroy Red Dragon Archfiend, I'll just attack Yuya directly with my fusion monster. He attacks Yuya directly, but Yuya is too busy thinking, so Jack kind of wakes him up for a little bit, and then he gets on his rollerblades. He goes for an action card. He goes right past the Battle Beast, but the Battle Beast doesn't stop Yuya this time. And Sanders is telling him, go, stop Yuya, don't let him get that card. And he didn't. He ignored his instructions. So he was getting pissed off at the Battle Beast, saying, oh, how dare you not listen? How dare you not listen to me? Like, I'm your commander. You're supposed to listen to your instructor, to your commander, whatever. Cardinal, I forgot the specific term he used, but You're supposed to listen to me and me alone. My orders are definite, and if you don't fight, if you don't want to do anything, then I will card you. And he basically threatens the battle beast. He's kind of like merciless. He doesn't even care. He's just like, look, man, do as I say, or you're gonna get carded. So it's interesting. Very, very aggressive. He kind of has a lot of mental problems. I don't know what's up with him. I do not think he's possessed. Also, another thing, Yuya, the battle beast was kind of getting really frustrated and angry, and he was kind of, I think he was contemplating something in himself, because he wasn't listening to the instructor. He was just getting mad and frustrated, and Yuya noticed something. He was looking at him, and he noticed something, and he says there's something strange about him. And then later on in the episode, something gets brought back. Yuya looks at the battle beast when he's going crazy, activating his continuous trap, setting up this fortress or whatever. He goes on top of it, and he looks really desperate and really angry and savage and whatnot. And then Yuya looks at him again, and he notices something. And then he has these flashbacks of Yuya when he was a kid, like really depressed to the streets because he was abandoned or something. Or because everybody was ridiculing him for what his father did, and then like Yuzu smacking him or something. So basically, based on what I can tell from that scene, I guess Yuya sees something in the battle beast that reminds him of himself. So there's apparently going to be a connection between the two, and he sees something in the battle beast, something in his eyes and the way that he looks, and he's somehow able to relate to it. He doesn't say specifically what it is, but in the next episode it's going to be mentioned very heavily, and he's going to try to connect to him. But that's what I got from that. It wasn't explained, but that's what I got from it. It seems like the fact that he had a flashback of some of his memories when he was ridiculed and mistreated. It makes it seem like, oh, well, maybe the battle beast, he has a similar look that Yuya had. So we're probably going to get into the backstory of the battle beast and how he became this way and all this stuff. So that's going to be next episode. I can't wait to see that, because that's going to be very interesting. So Yuya wakes up from everything, and you know, he draws a card. He's like, oh, Crow and Tsuchikage, they got carded, and I have to win this duel for them so their sacrifices won't be in vain. And he basically summons these two performer power monsters, one of them which negates the effect of the opponent's monster, and has another effect to summon another performer power from the extra deck, and then the monster that you targeted becomes the same attack or defense as the monster you just summoned from the hand. So that's how he was able to get around it and whatnot. Forgot what happened right after that, but the battle beast got really pissed off. He activated this trap card, the continuous trap card, which has a really extremely long effect. It's practically two cards in one, because it literally has two effects, and there's actually like a divider in the card effect, where the top part is one card effect, the second part is another. So it has one card effect where like it avoids damage, and it does a whole bunch of stuff. And then the second part of the effect, which is practically a whole nother effect, which it activates as a continuous spell card, which I gotta admit, that's a very unique concept. So I really like that, but it's like, it's too much in one card. I don't know how they were able to fit all that in there, but that's basically what happened. And it was a complicated scenario. I don't want to describe it because it was a lot. I don't even fully understand everything that happened with that. But he set up this fort, and he says, oh, he can deal 1,000 points of damage. So he pretty much decides. So Sanders is yelling at him, eliminate Jack or eliminate Yuya. Do it now, you know, yelling at him, and he's getting really frustrated and pissed off. So then the battle beast says, you know what, screw this. And then he inflicts that damage onto Sanders. So then, you know, his fusion monster was just whipping him back and forth, and the episode ends with Sanders screaming and the yellow lights, you know, bursting everywhere, and that's how the episode ends, with the battle beast attacking Sanders with the battle damage and whatnot. It was definitely a lot, so we could see that once again with the symbolism was that the fusion monster was able to willingly control the gladiator beast fusion monsters and summon them and take advantage of them like nothing, which symbolizes the instructor Sanders. And when the battle beast pretty much said, you know what, no, he pretty much decides to destroy the fusion monster that Sanders has. The editor is kind of symbolizing that he no longer wants to be in control of Sanders, and therefore that's why he inflicts the damage onto Sanders. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode, and based on how the next episode looks and how it's titled, it makes it seem like Yuya is gonna try to connect to the battle beast. He's gonna try to figure out the truth about him and I guess his past and try to connect with him. And it's called Glory to the Academia, the name of the episode. And so that's the episode. That's what happened. It was pretty interesting. Yuya really wants to find out what Akabaleo knows about them and why he wants them eliminated. And I think it's weird. I think it makes a little bit of sense because if you remember the duel with Yugo and Rin, before that duel even happened, she threw Yugo right out the window. So my debate was, if it's true that he wants the 4 Yuyas, the 4 U boys or whatever, then why would he throw one of them off a building when that could potentially kill him? But now, based on this episode, it makes it seem like he wants them to be eliminated. He wants them to die, all of them, maybe in a specific order, or he just wants them all to die. And that's a part of the plan. And remember, his plan with the U boys is called Revival Zero, and the U girls is called Revival Zero. So maybe it has something to do with him having to collect the 4 girls and kill the 4 boys in order to revive this thing. So I'm thinking that whatever that dark spirit that's inside Yuya and the 4 U boys, that's what he's trying to awaken. And in order to do that, he needs the 4 U girls and needs to kill the 4 U boys. Which, there's still confusing parts because if he wanted to kill Yugo, then when Rin defeated Yugo, she could have killed him right there. So I don't know why he left him alive if he needs Yugo dead. So maybe it could be that he needs to kill Yuya first and then kill Yugo. And since Yuto's technically was the first one to die and combined with Yuya, then he needs to kill Yuya. I don't understand the order. It didn't make a lot of sense in the order of how things were happening. They're kind of just making assumptions, but apparently he needs them all to die in order to possibly revive whatever this being is he's trying to revive. Possibly. And once again, this is all speculation. I don't really know what's going on. I'm just assuming based on these little clues that this is what's happening. He's trying to revive something as well as combine the 4 dimensions, and that's why he has the 4 U girls. And I don't know. It's still very complicated, but that's what I got out of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Yu-Gi-Oh! R5 review. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm gonna be working on a new duel. That should be up maybe in a week or 2. I'm going to try to have it done maybe, 2 weeks seems like a good enough time. I'm going to have another duel video up for you guys so you guys can watch and enjoy. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you guys. Thank you guys for everything. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Gotcha!